My beloved child. It's strange, isn't it, how two people can sleep in the same bed, share the same meals, live under the same roof for years, and yet feel oceans apart. You thought growing old together would mean holding hands more, talking longer, understanding deeper. But somewhere along the way, without meaning to, the warmth faded, the words shortened, the touches grew rare, and now, even when you sit beside them, you find yourself wondering, where did we go? You still cook for them, still fold their clothes, still ask about their day. But the conversations don't go as far anymore. They watch their shows. You scroll through memories. Sometimes the silence between you says more than either of you can find words for. You think back to the younger version of you, the one who believed in forever, and you whisper, I thought forever would feel closer than this. You don't even blame them. You know life wears people down. You've changed too. There's been grief. There's been stress. There are unspoken things you both let pile up because neither one of you knew how to unpack them. But the ache remains, to be seen again. To be heard. Not just out of habit, but out of care. To be held. Not just by the routine of marriage, but by the soul of the person who once said I do. And I see you there, sitting at the edge of the bed, or across the table, or walking silently beside them, still showing up, still honoring your vow, still loving in the in-between. I see what no one else does. I see the heartbreak of feeling alone while technically not being alone. I see the loyalty that stays even when connection feels lost. And child, let me say this clearly, I'm sitting with you in that ache. I haven't turned away. What if this moment, as painful as it feels, isn't the end of closeness, but the beginning of a deeper invitation? Not an invitation to fix them, not to force anything, but to rediscover you, and to discover me in a way you never needed before. What if the distance you feel is the space I want to step into, not to replace what's missing, but to restore what matters? So let me ask you now, have you been waiting for them to turn toward you, while I've been waiting for you to turn toward me? Have you been measuring love by what's been lost, instead of asking me what could still be found? Today, I invite you to take one simple step, create a space in your home, just for you and me. Not to escape your marriage, but to rekindle your soul. Light a candle. Sit in silence. Say nothing at first. Then whisper this prayer, Lord, I miss us. And I miss them. Will you sit with me in this? And I will. I already am, because I see the ache between you, and I see you. And before anything can be healed on the outside, I want to hold the part of you that's been quietly breaking on the inside. We'll begin here, just the two of us, and from here, I'll walk with you, even if they don't. My beloved child, silence in a marriage doesn't always scream. Sometimes it settles, slowly, quietly, like a fog that rolls in and lingers. You don't talk less because you have nothing to say. You talk less because, somewhere along the way, it stopped mattering whether you said it at all. You still think, you still feel, you still notice things, but your words now stay inside, like unopened letters. Not because you're afraid, but because you're tired. You remember when a simple sentence could spark a whole conversation. when your stories, your feelings, your thoughts were welcomed, even pursued. But lately, when you speak, they don't look up, they nod distractedly, or they change the subject. And so, you shorten your answers, you turn inward, you tell yourself, it's not worth the effort, even though your heart is still full of unspoken things. And that hurts, not because you need to talk, but because you need to be heard. But here's what I want you to hear from me today: I still listen. I don't just hear the words you say out loud, I hear the ones you never get to finish. I hear the ones that die on your lips. The ones you whisper to yourself in the kitchen. The ones you write in your mind at 2 a.m. and never send. I don't need volume to know your heart. I lean in when others tune out. You've gotten so used to holding your thoughts inside. But what if those words were never meant to disappear into silence? What if they were meant to be poured into the one who receives without judgment, without distraction, without rushing you? What if, in this season where you feel unheard by them, I'm teaching you to speak more freely with me? So let me ask you, tenderly, have you stopped speaking not because there's no one to hear you, but because you forgot that I never stopped listening? What if the silence between you and them has become a sacred space between you and me? Today, I invite you to try something simple. Set a time, maybe during a quiet moment in the afternoon or just before bed. Take out a piece of paper or open a note on your phone, and write one sentence that you wish they had asked you today. Then, answer it, honestly, fully. Just for me it could be, how are you feeling today? Or, is anything weighing on your heart? And as you write or whisper your response, know this: I'm sitting right there with you, holding every word like treasure, because even when they stop listening, I never stop leaning in, and my presence will always be the place where your voice matters. My beloved child, what you miss most isn't the romance, it's the friendship. The kind of connection where one glance across the room meant laughter was about to follow. Where small stories from your day mattered. Not because they were important, but because you were. Where you didn't have to explain your tone, your silence, or your mood, they just knew. You thought growing older together would mean knowing each other more deeply, more gently. But somewhere along the way, the companionship turned into cohabitation. The shared jokes stopped being shared. The walks together became separate routines. And now you sit near each other, but live in separate worlds. You remember the version of them who used to reach for your hand without reason, who used to bring you little things just because they thought of you, who used to ask, "What's on your mind?" and actually wanted to hear the answer. Now, they scroll, they sigh, they stay busy, and you do too. Because keeping busy feels better than being quietly disappointed. You don't want grand gestures. You just want to feel like you still matter to the one who once knew you best. And I see that longing. I see how deep it runs, not just for affection, but for companionship. For someone who sits beside you and says, "I still want to know you. And I need you to hear this." Child, you were never meant to carry that kind of loneliness alone. You were made for connection. You were created for deep, mutual knowing, and when it fades, it leaves more than silence. It leaves a wound. But here is the hope I offer you, even if the friendship you once had with them feels distant now. My friendship with you has never faded. I still walk with you in the garden of your thoughts. I still ask, what made you smile today? I still say, tell me how you're really doing. I am the friend who doesn't drift. The one who doesn't grow tired of your voice. The one who stays curious about your soul. So let me ask you gently, have you been mourning the loss of connection without opening the door to new companionship, the kind that starts with me? What if I want to sit in the quiet beside you? Not just to comfort, but to remind you, you are still worth knowing today. Take a step toward friendship with me. Find something small that brings you joy, a song from your youth, a walk at your pace, a favorite dish, and invite me into it. Say, Lord, be here with me like an old friend today. Let that moment become holy. Let it remind you that even if their eyes don't see you the same way, mine never stopped watching with delight. Because you didn't just lose a friend, you're being invited into a deeper friendship than you've ever known, and I'm still reaching for your heart, even when they don't. My beloved child, when someone stops reaching for your heart, it's easy to believe no one else will. You see the distance. Feel it like a draft through a closed door, a subtle chill that's always there. You tell yourself not to expect too much. Not to bring it up again. Not to make things heavier than they already feel. And slowly, you stop asking for connection. You make peace with the space. But deep inside, a quiet voice still whispers, this isn't how I imagined it would be. You never thought growing old together would mean growing quiet. Growing distant. Growing separate. You pictured warmth. Long talks. Gentle laughter over tea. But now, it's side-by-side silence. They're present, in body, in routine, but absent from the part of you that still aches to be known. You walk through days feeling like someone whose story is still unfolding, but with no one beside you to read it anymore. And yet, in that space where they stopped reaching, I never stopped. While they turned inward, I stepped closer. While you sat in silence, I moved toward you with intention. I haven't stopped caring about what you carry. I haven't stopped reaching for the soft, guarded places in your heart that still long to be seen. I see the distance, and I come near. What if this season of growing apart is not where your story ends, but where something deeper begins? What if, instead of trying to shrink the distance with them, I'm inviting you to expand your intimacy with me? Not to replace, but to restore. Not to erase the ache, but to walk through it with a God who never grows tired of closeness. So let me ask you, have you been so focused on who stepped away, that you haven't noticed who stepped in? Have you left space in your grief for the nearness of a friend who always desires more of you? Today, I invite you to do one simple thing. Go to the place where the distance hurts the most. Maybe it's the couch where you used to sit close, or the dinner table where conversation has gone thin. Sit there, and say this to me, Lord. They may have stepped back, but I know you are stepping closer. Let that sentence open a new space in your heart. Let it soften the walls you've built to protect yourself. Because I am not just the God who sees. I am the God who stays. Even if they forget to notice you, I still delight in you. Even if they've stopped asking what's on your mind, I still want to hear every thought. Even if they've stopped reaching out, I never will. My beloved child, you've spent so much time protecting their comfort that you've neglected your own pain. You told yourself it wasn't worth mentioning, that it would pass, that speaking up might make things worse. And so, you tucked your loneliness into a quiet corner of your heart, hoping it would soften with time. But it hasn't. It has only grown quieter, deeper, heavier. You've learned how to smile through the ache, how to carry the groceries and carry the silence. You've told yourself, it's enough just to still be together. But deep down, you ache for more, not more things, not grand changes, just more presence, more care, more closeness. And yet, you're afraid. Afraid to speak it. Afraid they won't understand. Afraid they'll dismiss it. Or worse, ignore it. But here's what I want you to know. Child, I can handle the truth. You don't have to dress it up for me. You don't have to protect me from your disappointment, your longing, your sorrow. Bring it to me as it is, raw, real, unspoken for too long. I won't pull away. I won't minimize it. I'll sit with you in it. And if you're willing, I'll begin healing it, not by pretending the distance doesn't hurt, but by meeting you inside the distance. What if your silence has been keeping more than peace? What if it's been keeping you from healing? What if the courage to speak, first to me, and maybe one day to them, is the next holy step in your story? So let me ask you, with compassion, what would happen if you stopped protecting them from your truth and started protecting your heart with my presence? What if you wrote down the words you wish you could say, not to confront, not to accuse, but simply to be honest again? Today, I invite you to do something small but sacred. Find a quiet moment. Take a piece of paper and write a letter that begins with, "This is what I've been carrying that I've never said out loud." Let it flow. Let it breathe. Let it hurt. When you're done, fold the paper and place it in your Bible, or by your bedside. Say, "Lord, this is yours now." And if, in time, I stir your heart to share even a part of it with them, trust me with that too. I can prepare their heart. I can prepare yours. You don't have to carry this alone anymore. Not with me. Not even with them, because pretending you're fine won't bring you closer, but honesty, wrapped in love, covered in grace, might just open a door again. My beloved child, I know the ache that lingers when you open your heart, and no one reaches back. I see the courage it takes to say, "This is how I really feel," only to be met with silence, indifference, or confusion. You didn't speak to stir conflict. You spoke because your soul was tired of pretending everything was fine. You reached out, and they didn't reach back. And that, more than anything, can break a heart already worn thin. You've told yourself not to take it personally. That people change. That time wears down emotion. But it still stings. Not because you expect them to fix everything, but because you hoped they would at least notice the gap, and want to bridge it. And when they don't, you wonder, am I really that hard to love now? Am I still worth reaching for? And here is what I need you to know with holy certainty: yes, you are. Even if they've stopped reaching toward you. I never have. Even if they've stopped hearing your voice, I still respond to every whisper. Even if they've turned away, emotionally, spiritually, quietly, I am the one who turns toward you with every sunrise, every breath, every moment you feel alone. You are not just growing older. You are growing toward me. And with me. Love does not shrink with time, it deepens. It doesn't fade, it refines. You are not a leftover in someone else's life. You are a treasure in mine. You are not living out the rest of your years in someone's shadow, you are living in the light of my attention. So let me ask you, child, will you anchor your worth in a human heart that may falter? Or in my heart that never changes? Will you stop waiting for their response to determine your value, and start trusting in my everlasting yes, today? Hold your hands over your heart and say this aloud, even if they don't reach back. God, you already have. Let that truth settle in your bones. Let it lift the shame, the loneliness, the fear. Let it become your new rhythm, not waiting to be loved, but resting in the love that has always been here, because your story is not ending in silence, it is unfolding in sacred stillness, with me, and I am not going anywhere.